So we're going to talk about caring for your cast iron pans. I made a video recently about how awesome cast iron is. It's no stick. As you may recall, I made a whole batch of pancakes with one little spoonful of lard in the pan. You can see here I've got two pans. This one is my big one. I made some chicken in it yesterday. I fried it on the stove top first, and then I stuck it in under the broiler for 10 minutes to crisp it up. And it's still dirty. This one, yesterday I smoked 12 pounds of bacon, and I had to try a little bit of the bacon first after I was done. So I fried a few pieces of bacon. You can see there's some rind. The bacon that I made still had the rind on it, and there's a bunch of bacon fat in there. Now, when you're dealing with a cast iron pan, a lot of people have a lot of things they tell you about it. Some of those things are true to some extent. Everyone's talking about seasoning their pans. You don't got to get too crazy about seasoning your pan. You know what? If you cook in it a couple of times, it's going to season it. And if you treat it properly and clean it properly afterwards, you can put some lard on it and throw it in the oven, 350 for 45 minutes or something like that. The temperature, you'll hear all kinds of different temperatures. I find it doesn't really matter too much. Seasoning the pan doesn't matter too much because it's going to season when you cook it. I've got a wooden spatula here. I'll show you what we're doing with that in a bit. I've got a cloth. You can also use paper towel. I don't like to use paper towel. I don't like to use disposable things as much as possible. So when you're done cooking, the best thing you can do with your cast iron pan is set it aside, let it come down to room temperature again. You can throw it in the oven to get it out of the way if you want. The worst thing you can do, I was at scout camp last year and had this pan there, and we were cooking some fish in it, and the guy, when he was done, this is the old trick you use for your stainless steel pans, he filled it with water and threw it back on the stove, and I nearly freaked. Oh my God, the worst thing you can do with your cast iron pan is let it soak in water for any amount of time. Luckily I caught him right away and I emptied it out. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what we're doing here. So when you're done cooking, let the thing cool down, and if you don't have time to deal with it right away, just leave it. This is actually a really good way to store this pan indefinitely, even though it looks kind of gross. The only downside would be anything that's on there may start to go rancid and may start to smell a little bit. In this case, there's probably not enough on there to really matter, because when I was done here, I drained out the chicken fat and I saved it in the fridge, because I saved my fat to use for other applications, just frying in the pan or making popcorn or whatever. In this case, there's quite a bit. I didn't drain this fat out from the bacon when I was done, so there's quite a bit in there. That's probably going to start to give a rancid smell if you let it sit there too long. But like I said, aside from the rancid smell that may come from a pan like this, you can let it sit like this indefinitely. It's actually a really good way to store the pan because the grease is in there protecting the surface. In this case, in both cases, that's what you use the wooden spatula for, something with a straight edge across there to clean your pan. Basically, now this bacon is cooked on there pretty well, and the wooden spatula, oh no, it's coming out there good. This may not be enough to get this pan clean. We'll see. I'm going to do the easy one first, the chicken one. Basically, you just want to scrape everything off and then give it a wipe with the cloth. You're done. You don't need dish soap, you don't need water. If you can get it all off in this manner, then you're good to go. That one, I don't think it's gonna come clean by this method. This one should come really clean really quickly. I can just feel that it's not cooked on there very well. In this case, the bacon was cured with a lot of maple syrup and brown sugar, and so it's the sugars that really caramelized on the pan for the bacon and created the mess that's in there. That's caramelized sugar. So obviously you wouldn't want anything metal scraping in your pan. Wood is really good for this. And if you got any along the edges, you scrape it along this way, along the sides of the pan. So, and don't be afraid to get your hands a little bit dirty there. It's no big deal. It's just food. Now this, you see a spot here that's not coming off. So this is good. I can show you the other half of things. A lot of people say you don't use dish soap or whatever under no circumstances. You can use a little bit of it. You can use a little bit of water on there. It's not a big deal. Using dish soap will tend to take your seasoning off, but I use it, you know, every second or third time. I use a little bit of dish soap and a sponge with the, just wait, I'll get it there. One of these Scotch sponges with the scrubby on the side there. You can use a little wee bit of dish soap, a couple of dabs with that, to get little spots like this off of there. Usually, a lot of times you don't end up with anything on there, and you can just give it a wipe with your cloth and you're done. That's not going to be the case this time. Alright, so I'm just going to give that a wipe, see what we got left. Yeah, we got a little bit here. You can see it's going to need some extra encouragement. Other than that, that's a pretty clean pan. There's a few little spots here that need some extra encouragement, and that goes right in the washing machine, so you reuse it. I'll keep trying with the wood and see where we get. That's coming off a bit. It's not going to come, so I'm just going to give it a light scrub with my scrubby. Very light. There, it's coming right off. Very light scrub. Don't even need any dishwashing soap yet. There will be a little bit of residual soap in that scrubby. There, you can see the residual soap coming out. Now I'm going to scrub this a little bit too much just to show you what happens. You can see over here I'm losing my I'm starting to lose my seasoning over here. I'm not too concerned about it, because the next time I cook in it, there, I'm going to just, I'll leave it like that to show you what it looks like when you lose your seasoning. And that's usually what's going to happen if you use too much dish soap, too much water, too much scrubbing. You can see up here the difference in color I'm losing in my seasoning on that side of the pan. It's not the end of the world. Next time I cook in there, I will just put some lard in it, and it'll re-season it just from cooking in it. Hold on a second.